Yo, Mike, check 1 2 1 2 is definitely going down in a major way, man. Y'all know we do it, man. It's the one and only man, the world famous Kid XP. Back at you again, man, with another hype, man, interesting, man. Most of all, very special to me because it's R&B. You know how we do it, man. It's going down in a major way. I fight for real music. I fight for the love of R&B. That's one of my passions, one of my favorites. So, with no further ado, our special guest for the evening is none other than Twice. And I love that name because everything is better when it's twice. If you eat a good meal, you want it twice. There's some other things
Okay,
you want it twice. So
okay.
welcome twice in the building. How are you doing?
Yes, good. How are you?
Man, I am blessed and highly favored as we
Good.
lead up to the Super Bowl. Definitely excited this year. Of course, all of the things that we are being incorporated in the Super Bowl and R&B music is being kept alive, and I'm so excited for that. But let's not talk no more about that. Let's talk about the amazing artists we have in the building twice. Introduce yourself to all the
Yes.
fans out there.
Yes, I am Twice, y'all. I am an R&B artist. I live in Richmond, VA, and I am all the way ready for y'all to listen to my new album, Yonae, out now on all platforms.
That's what's now coming from VA. You know, it's some strong names out the VA now in
Oh
the music game.
yeah.
So let's talk about that. Growing up in the VA, you know, you had some heavy influences come out the VA. Let's talk about like Tim, you know, for an example, and other artists like Missy. Talk about your musical journey. How did you get started, and what influenced you to get into this thing called music?
So I grew up around music for sure. My mom, she grew up singing. My family, we have a music, we have a fair music background in my family. But my mom, she sings and she was in this gospel group called All for Cry. They started college years. And I used to grow up just wanting to be like my mom. I just always wanted to
Right,
be like my mom. I'm like, I want to be as confident as she is on stage. I want to sing in a microphone. I want to yell into the microphone. So I
right,
like literally grew up listening to my mom. So just growing up around her and being around, my Uncle Juju and everybody else she used to sing with and offer cry, I wanted to be like them. So eventually I aged up enough to be able to sing with them. So that's pretty much where I started at. I started singing gospel music with All for Cry. And I eventually started writing
right,
my own music and, wanted to record my own music, but never really having the times or funds to do it, to be honest.
right,
So, I went to college and I came back home. My boyfriend, he has his brother named Renegade that has an in-home studio. And my boyfriend at the time, he was like, yo, when you come home, we got to get you in the studio. You got to record.
right,
So, that's when I started recording my own music, my own written music. So that was
right,
about 2018. So that,
right.
I pretty much started looking up to my mom and my family for
Now
sure.
let's talk about that. You know, I grew up as a church musician. And you know, we were always taught it's you got to do everything church, 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 church. But as we got
Hmm.
older, we kind of grew into our own. Talk about how that was making that leap. You know, we love God, but you know, we got to follow our passion.
Exactly. And that no, it's so funny. Like I was literally just talking about this last week. I absolutely love gospel music. It gets me through a rough time. If I'm having a
Right,
rough day, I can be on my way to work and I want to just blast some gospel music because I just want to feel better, just to remind myself that I'm not by myself. I do have God. But it's
right,
like that, making gospel music just was not my passion. Don't get me wrong, I loved singing it. I sing a
right,
gospel song all day. But when it comes to what comes from my soul and my heart when I am writing music, it just doesn't happen to be gospel. It just really
right,
like, I love R&B music. I love to talk about love. I love to talk about
right,
relationship problems. I love to talk about real life relationships, stuff we really got
right,
going on, like,
right,
and the love side, the more, or the, uplifting side, more like that, not necessarily just keeping myself stuck in gospel. And I did have a rough patch kind of getting up there because my uncle Juju, he is the founder of Offer Cry. He created the group, him and my mom started it.
Right.
And so, watching her sing gospel and wanting to be a part of that, when I came up and I was ready to start recording, he was the first person I came to. And,
Right.
knowing that he writes gospel music and he records gospel music and he has his gospel, artists and, their crew, it was like, he was not willing. He did not want to do it at the time, because he's like, I really think your path is to follow gospel, which is understandable because that's where I came from. So pretty
Right.
much, getting through that was pretty much just really believing in myself and knowing my true heart, what I really want to do, and actually go for it and not continuously worry about disappointing people. Because at the end, if I worry about disappointing everybody else, I'm gonna just end up disappointing myself because I didn't put my full potential into something I really love to do. So pretty much like that kind of pushed me a little more. And that's pretty much how I got through that whole kind of like, you're supposed to be doing gospel music. You came up with that kind of phase. I got through that. And my mom is very supportive. So she was all for it. She's like, do what you gotta do. Now if you cussing, I might not share it all the time, but if
Yeah.
if you love to do it, I love for you to do it. So that's
Right.
just pretty much how it is.
Now let's talk about being an independent artist. We all have these dreams and goals and aspirations of getting to the top, and a lot of times people see when we make it our story of the glory, but they don't understand the hard work that goes into being an indie artist. Like majority of the time, you get a lot of no's before you get the yeses. It's a lot of
Hmm.
dollar burgers and 99-cent tacos. I don't know if they're 99 cents now, but I mean, y'all,
Inflation.
yeah, yeah. But talk about some of the steps it takes as an indie artist to where you don't lose yourself by trying to be what people think you should be in order to get signed to a label.
Growth, really, like knowing that there's growth, there's improvement. Like, nothing's perfect. I'm not perfect. So I know there is space for me to grow and get better at doing what I like to do and love to do. So really it comes from my heart. Like, being able to write my music and really speak on the stuff that I have experienced and that I know other people experience and can relate to. That's pretty much where that motivation comes from. Uh, Am I losing myself in this question?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got to stay true to who you are. Let's talk about this amazing album and
Yes.
this amazing collaboration. Like Ne-Yo, I mean, like I probably would not care to do anything else if I got a chance to work with Ne-Yo. I think I would hit everything on my bucket list. So let's talk about this
Yes.
collaboration.
Yes. So honestly, having Ne-Yo on my album was one of the greatest things that could have happened to me last year. It actually, I found out the year before last that we will be working with Ne-Yo and that, you know, Ne-Yo is my top five. Honestly, if I met Ne-Yo in person right now, I'd probably be speechless for about 2 minutes. I wouldn't
Right,
even know what to say, because I,
right,
you know, I love his songwriting. He's absolutely amazing at writing music, and I love to write music. I want to be a big, R&B singer songwriter. I want to have really famous music out here with big artists. So it's like being able to know that one of my top five artists was going to be on my project was everything, especially the day that I found out it was happening. So I lost my uncle when I found out. When I found out that we were working with Ne-Yo, I had lost my uncle. He was in a coma for 6 months. And my uncle
wow,
was like my dad. Yeah, he lived with
right,
us my whole entire life. That was my mom's only sibling. So, it was like that.
wow,
That was really like my dad. He was there every day. If I needed something,
right,
he gonna do what he gotta do to help me. That was like literally my dad. So it's like,
right,
losing him, that was like a really hard time for us, especially playing a waiting game for 6 months. So it's like the day we had his memorial service, CPR came to support and he was there for us. And he told us then, like at the end of the night, after after having to go through all of those emotions and that one day, it's like we got to the tip of the roller coaster at that time. He told us that,
right,
like Ne-Yo was gonna be working with us, and I was just like, that was like the best news I could have got that day because it was such a rough day. So yeah, pretty much
Right.
like that's how it came about. CP did his thing, knowing that Ne-Yo was my top five, knowing I loved him, and we got Ne-Yo on the project. So, and that is
Man.
on the first song
Yes.
of the project.
Man, y'all make sure y'all, man, look, every streaming platform, anywhere you can download this song,
Yes.
this album, y'all make sure y'all tap into this because I always tell people like our music is like one of the biggest exports that America has, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how we continue to build it and set a tone for us is how we support it, you know. And so the more that we support, this thing called R&B, the more that we can kind of shift the game a little bit and bring some balance
Right.
back to music. Somebody put a statement. I was like, R&B is dead. I'm like, R&B is not dead. R&B is
It's not.
it's much alive. It's the fact that we have to tap into it with our support. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm encouraging y'all when you download one for yourself, download one for your cousin,
Yes.
download one for your sister. Get it as a gift. Like, hey, I need you to check out this new album. It's gonna be a banger. Y'all need to do y'all thing.
Yes.
And this is how we get ourselves back to where we need to be.
Right.
If we're tired of the way things is going in the industry, then we got the ability to make the change. And it's digital. You ain't even got to go nowhere. You pick up your phone, boom. So give them that. If they want to get your music, you go ahead and
Right.
tell them what they need to do. Pick up that
Right.
phone and download. Just that
Yes.
simple. And you're doing some amazing things outside of the music. I personally um, had a friend who has a daughter, and she went through some things that your foundation supports. So if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so my little sister, she is my youngest sister, Cameron. She has alopecia and she's had it since she was 1.5, and she got
Yeah.
diagnosed with it at the age of 2. So she's pretty much had it all her life. She is about to be 18 this year. So just imagine
Wow.
going through all those years, getting bullied
Oh
and
yeah.
picked on, wondering if you got cancer, or anything like that, just always feeling like, somebody's judging you without them even
Right.
getting to know you kind of thing. So growing up with her, like, of course, my mom raised us to always support each other. It was
Right.
no matter how much we argue, no matter how much we fight, I'm gonna
Right.
be right there when you need me. And when it's time to support, I'm gonna be front row. Okay. So of
Right.
course, like I am 10 toes, 1,000 toes if I had them down behind my
Right.
sister. And
Uh,
I just, I want to continue to help push that message. Like,
Right.
like take those things that people look at as flaws, or that thing that you look at as flaws, and make it who you are. Like, love it,
Right.
start to love it, and show other people that it's okay to love your flaws. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to accept who you are and find the beauty in yourself and to wear your crown. So, so that's pretty much what that foundation is. It is the Cameron Alopecia Heroes. And the message is to just say that we are all beautiful. And the only
Right.
person who can judge your beauty is yourself,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
So
And I encourage anybody out there that will watch this interview. This is something, an issue that's dear to me because, like I said, I know somebody personally since birth and to this day is that probably about around the same age, 18 or 19, but lived their whole life through this. And we got to understand we're in a different generation now. These kids got
yeah.
phones and they are heartless. So it is 10 times worse than when we were growing up because we didn't have cell
Oh
phones where
yeah.
people can pick up their phone and cyberbully you. So I
Right.
encourage you, y'all see this foundation, if you can, donate, get involved, and not just this, but in your local city. We got to do something against this bullying because this is something that's really getting out of hand. And I appreciate you for having the foresight to create something like this because not a lot of attention is being driven to this, especially people of color too. It's not really being addressed in the manner that it is. So I appreciate you for doing that.
Exactly.
So
Definitely.
so if you can, man, let the fans know about anything else you got coming up. New releases or things that you want to slide in there.
Yeah. So I would definitely love to go ahead and slide in Tiffany Evans feature on my album. On
Yes.
my album, Yonae, that is out right now. And if you follow me on Instagram at 2wicee, ICEEEE